Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. Last time I checked, let's just make sure that I am. Let's see if this works. Yes! It's good to be back. And Mike, our friend Mike Dix, the absolute legend that is, he's been holding the fort for the last week, which has been absolutely insanely good of him. He's an absolute trooper. And I thought his broadcasts were brilliant. I tried to keep a low profile because he was like, "Stop watching me," but it was good. It was good. Who's this? Says L. Well, it's me. So all of our names have changed in the chat here to our username. So I'm now at Graham Politics, or at Graham Travels, or at Graham Presents. You can get me either way. So but I'm going to try and make my way through the chat as effectively as I can. Obviously Graham Haller, that's obvious. Joanna Hammond, Vendetta, Martin Harrow, Pete's Music, L is in there. Yeah, so I mean, most people are kind of recognisable. You're in there, effective of is in there as well. So hi everyone. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do, become a friend, is hit the subscribe button. So I'm still moving about. So as a result, this is going to be a truncated show today. We're only going to be doing 40 minutes today. So I hope you can all hear me. I hope you can all see me. Let's get into what I want to talk about today, which is it's not a fun topic particularly. It's to do with this guy called Uri Manor, who was deaf from birth. I think he was deaf from birth, or maybe from when he was 2. Overcame the odds. He was diagnosed at the age of 2. He learned to speak, became a world-class scientist researching into how to restore hearing. And this is where I want to tie what's happening over in America with what will happen in the UK unless we stop reform. Okay, we've got to stop them. I can't emphasize this enough. They can be stopped and they will be stopped, but we have to go for their pressure points. We have to go for the things that will get the people who might be tempted to vote for them to go, maybe not. One of the things we can do, definitely, is to tie them in with Trump. Tie them all in with Trump because they are following the DEI, Doge, anti-DEI, Doge, Trump, never admit mistakes, having your own think tanks set up to make fake statistics for you to then report on your fake news shows, on your fake news channels. This is very much the Trump playbook which he is using. Thank you very much to Maggie Pie for the 20 Swedish krona. That is very kind of you. And Maggie Pie says, quite rightly, call out Labour on their transphobic bullshit. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more, Maggie Pie, and that's something I intend to do. I'm going to go to the conference in September, the end of September, so 2 months away, and I will be wearing my Protect the Dolls t-shirt, along with speaking to people in Labour about the damage they're doing to the trans community. So, back onto this whole DEI thing. What do you get when you let bigots run the government? What do you get? You get dead children. That's it. That's not hyperbole. That's history. That is what has happened in the past. Not just once, not just twice, but many times before. This war on what they call DEI, it's not what we call it here, but let's call it DEI because that's what it's been framed as. It's not about fairness or merit. It's about exclusion. It's about excluding, it's about dehumanizing and ultimately erasing people who don't fit into a narrow mold. The nuclear family, heteronormative, heterosexual, cisgender, blonde hair, blue-eyed, village of the damned freaks. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let's go through 3 examples, okay? Trump's America, first of all, then Idi Amin's Uganda in the 1970s, and then back to, our old favourite, Nazi in Germany, okay? So let's talk about Uri Manor. Uri Manor is a researcher. He's a scientist, and he got a 5-year grant from NIH in America under a DEI program for disabled researchers. And Trump's NIH cancelled it mid-grant because it was part of a DEI initiative. His lab shut down experiments, staff were laid off, life-changing science was halted because the grant included the word diversity. And this is the line from the NIH under Trump. Programs based on artificial and non-scientific categories do not enhance health or reduce illness. This guy was looking for a cure for deafness. So obviously this is a subject close to my heart, and I am so angry about this. I am absolutely furious. But this could well be one of the many fissures that we can prise open, okay, between the people who vote for reform and the actual party itself, right? If we can say to the people who are minded to vote for reform, this is what you're going to get if you vote for reform, maybe it will wake a few of them up. Maybe it will wake enough of them up. That line about not enhancing health or reducing illness, this applies to a grant researching hearing loss, which affects 30 million Americans. Over 10% of the British population have some form of hearing loss. And this is part of a larger pattern. $3.8 billion have been slashed from NIH programs related to what they call DEI, including HIV research and racial health disparities. This is ideological warfare, and it's sabotage, plain and simple. And it's not the DEI war on DEI, Trump's war. It's not about saving money. It's about punishing the marginalized for daring to exist in professional spaces. And now we're seeing the acolytes of Trump, like Darren Grimes and other gruesome figures like him, this disgusting waxwork figure, and Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, bringing the Trump playbook to the UK, and specifically in my area, in my county, where I live at the moment, bringing the Trump playbook to Durham. Darren Grimes is very much for the scrapping of DEI training. Not that we really have effective DEI training in Durham City Council. If we had, things might be a little bit different. Might be a bit easier for people who are disabled in any way. But no, in June, Durham Council, now run by VFUC, scrapped DEI training for councillors. Equality, diversity, inclusion and climate change training all binned in one fell swoop. Grimes claimed that unconscious bias is uniquely racist, which is, unconscious bias is when you don't intend to make someone else's life more difficult or to make them burst into tears, but you do because you don't know any better. That is it, because no one's pointed out to you that that might not be a thing that you say to someone who is blind, who is deaf, who is disabled in some way. Thinking about what to do when someone presents themselves as being disabled and knowing how to manage it in a way that gives the person dignity and also resolves the situation in a meaningful way is a really important skill to have. But apparently it's racist. Councillors are now legally tasked with public equality duties, but not trained to understand what those duties are. Former Labour councillor Rochelle Lane warned this could undo decades of progress and reintroduce casual racism and sexism, and to add to that, ableism, which is what this thing is gearing up towards. Farage has said that Reform councillors will boycott diversity training nationwide because all people should be treated equally. Well, that's not true. We're talking about equity. We're talking about the idea that everyone doesn't get exactly the same treatment. You get treatment based on your needs. Okay, if you're really short, you might need a box to stand on to see over the wall. If you're really tall, you don't need a box. You don't give the tall person a box because you're giving the small person a box as well. It makes no sense. And then we got Maggie Pie coming in with another 20 Swedish krona. That is very, very kind of you, Maggie Pie. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to just get the super chat animation working in a moment. If my mouse would work. It's quite dark in here. Let's turn the brightness up a little bit. There you go. Is that better? Oh, it's self-turning it. It's making itself turn down. Oh, well, never mind. Maggie Pie, thank you very much for the super chat. Anti-DEI, pro-competency doesn't equal pro-competency, but the pro, the incompetent. Indeed. Stupid YouTube, yes. Looks like you can go to your profile and change your @handle to make it easier to work out who is in the chat. Says Mike_Dix, whoever that is. Hey Mike, how you doing? But yeah, saying that all people should be treated equally is a nonsense. It's something that rich, smug, privately educated dickheads with rich daddies who never had to work a day in their lives, it's the sort of thing that they will say because they've never experienced intolerance. They've never experienced not being privileged. This guy flies around on a private jet, you know. He worked in the city of London. He's earned over £1 million since becoming an MP on just his side hustles alone. I mean, and that's the stuff he declares. Yeah, so the elite, the aristocracy, the neo-aristocracy talking about equality is just a joke. It's an absolute joke. They see a billionaire from India going to Eton as equality, and it's not. It is absolutely not. Farage said reform councillors, by him saying that reform councillors should boycott diversity training, it ignores systemic inequality. So white, able-bodied men stay in charge forever. The same party that wants to bring back national service, scrap net zero, and cut council tax to the rich, now they're coming for disabled people, women, LGBT plus folk, and minorities. And the thing is, like, DEI isn't about lowering standards. It's about removing the structural bullshit that keeps whole communities out of the room. Uri Manor didn't get a grant because he was deaf. He got a chance to compete for one because he was finally allowed to apply on an even playing field, something that the rich aristocrats hate the very concept of. And DEI gives talented people the chance to thrive where the system had previously locked them out. It's about access, representation, safety, and innovation, which I'll come to in a moment because I think this is really interesting. It's not about wokeness. That's something separate. And I've got no problem with wokeness. I'm woke as F. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have no problem with wokeness, but this isn't wokeness. This is about access. This is about representation. This is about safety. Safety for disabled people. If you go around taking away all the braille, taking away all the bumps when you come to when you come to a road crossing, you're going to see a lot more blind people getting into accidents and maybe even dying. But maybe that's what these people want. Maybe this is what reform wants. And I think this is where we can drive a big wedge into that fissure and make it a gaping chasm. So where does this all lead, right? Well, first of all, we've got Idi Amin and Uganda in the 1970s. Could you take them out? Just grab them all, take them. Idi Amin in the 1970s in Uganda, he claimed to champion traditional African values, but in 1975, he ordered the execution of disabled people, calling them useless and a burden. He purged hospitals. He forcibly removed disabled children from schools. He left them to die. This is where anti-DEI logic ends up. When diversity is seen as weakness, the solution becomes extermination. Nazi Germany. The first victims of the Holocaust were disabled children. Nazi eugenics programs labelled them life unworthy of life, and they started with sterilisation and it ended in the gas chambers. This Action T4 program killed over 300,000 people in what they called hospitals. Hitler also shut down research that challenged eugenics ideology, just like Trump did to the researchers like Manor, who was researching into finding a cure for deafness. Their obsession with purity wasn't just racial, it was about eliminating difference. And so when you get someone like Darren Grimes and he's saying, oh, we need to get rid of this whole DEI thing because it's racist, I'm just staggered that he is bringing in this Nazi-like concept, this eugenics concept of like getting rid of people who are different, eliminating the people who are different, especially coming from someone like Darren Grimes, who is a member of the LGBT plus community. Like, do you know what they did to people who are trans, to people who are gay in Nazi Germany? Do you know what they did to them, Darren? Do you know? Do you know? Do you care? Blah blah CW says, who is this rank amateur? Give us dicks, lol. Oh no, sorry. I'm in the middle of moving at the moment, so we're going from one place to another, and I've got to wrap up in a little bit because people coming in and out of the room. So this is a bit discombobulating for me. So just bear with me. I know I'm not exactly on up to my usual standards. I don't feel like I can swear very loud as well. Farage's rhetoric that all people should be treated equally without recognising inequality is eerily familiar. It's the same bullshit that silences criticism, removes safeguards, and blames the vulnerable for society's problems. But I mentioned something a bit earlier, which I want to go back into because I think this is really interesting. The tech that DEI gave us, right? This goes back over 200 years. Touchscreens were designed by someone with carpal tunnel syndrome, right? So touchscreens, an evolution of touchpads, and they came about because a guy had carpal tunnel syndrome in his hand and he couldn't use a mouse. So he wanted another way of being able to operate a computer without having to use a mouse. Maggie Pie, what's Farage's political past, blood and honour? Farage's political past is just being an absolute monster and making the poorest in our society even poorer through his disgusting Brexit. So yeah, touchscreens were designed to help people with motor impairments. Speech-to-text software, which is the basis for Siri and for Alexa and all that, yeah? It started with speech-to-text. That was designed for the deaf and the hard of hearing. Captions and subtitles are now a universal default. Obviously, they were originally for deaf viewers, but they also help people with ADHD. They also help people who just want to understand what's happening in a Christopher Nolan film because everyone's mumbling and the soundtrack's really loud. Autocorrect and predictive text came from assistive tech technology. Remote working tools were pioneered to help disabled workers and now are used by millions. The electric toothbrush even was originally for those with limited dexterity, but they have actually helped the oral health, the health of people's teeth all over the world. They're a lot better than using a standard toothbrush. And finally, there's a big, massive list that I could go through, but keyboards. right? Every time you type a text message, every time you write something on a laptop, you owe a debt of gratitude to the guy 200 odd years ago who developed the first typewriter, not to make letter writing more neat, not to put the letter writers and the cartographers out of business, but to help people who were blind be able to write. That's what the original typewriter was originally invented for. It was a DEI job, and now it's something that we use every day, along with touchscreens and text to speech to text software and text to speech software as well, for people who are blind. See how it works? But also, I've talked about this before, you make things easier for disabled people. You put ramps in, it doesn't just help disabled people. It helps people who are pushing push chairs. It helps people who are trundling cases. It helps people on roller skates. Like, there's a lot of other, it helps the wheelies. It helps the Daleks. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to go upstairs. So, everyone's helping in a little bit, but it helps the whole of society. And we don't even think about it because we can't see the future. Everything makes sense in hindsight. But when that guy was developing what would become the typewriter back in the early 1800s, no idea. He had no idea where it would lead, where it would, everyone would have a keyboard on their phones. It's amazing. It's amazing. TTS is the new AI kid on the block, says Nick Chat. Ray Kurzweil invented a lot of tech stuff for accessibility, clever guy. Also the basis of Google Street Maps, also makes music equipment. He's been the head of tech at Google a long time. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, like making things easier to more accessible to more people. It's actually a net benefit for society. And also, I talk about subtitles at the cinema because there's not enough of them. Honestly, I think if all films were subtitled and it just became the norm, like it is in every other country in the world, with English language films, if they don't dub them, I can't see people complaining about it because they're going to expect that the film will have subtitles. But also, it means that the 10% of the population who have hearing difficulty are more likely to go to the cinema. Hardly anyone over the age of 35 goes to the cinema. And this is a big reason why they don't go to the cinema, because they'll spend 18 quid to go watch a film and they won't understand what's happening because they can't hear it. Daleks are shite baddies, yeah. Defeated by a step. Daleks are protected class. Possibly, I don't know. Diz says, will someone please think of the Daleks? Yeah. But yeah, just to sort of conclude this, what I'm saying is, like, Farage, Grimes and Trump would kill the innovations that would make life better for everyone out of sheer ideological spite. And you know what? Like, DEI isn't optional. It's not a luxury. It's not woke. It's how society evolves. Someone was asked a long time ago what a scientist, an evolutionary biologist, I think it was asked what they thought the dawn of human civilization was, because a lot of historians will look at something like agriculture, like the beginning of agriculture, as at the point where you could say that humans became more than animals. We became actually civilized. But there was an argument that actually the first recorded instance that we know of civilization was someone's bone that was found, someone who died over 10,000 years ago, longer than that, I think it was 50,000 years ago. Their bone had broken and obviously it had healed. So it had been bound by something. The people who were in the community with that person who broke their leg obviously stayed with them, didn't abandon them, gave them food because they couldn't have hunted. And that's what separated us from the rest of the other animals in the world. And DEI is an extension of that. It's looking after the frail. It's looking after the most vulnerable in our groups, in our societies. And if we don't do that, then we're descending back to the apes. from whence we came. That's what separates civilization from the law of the jungle. But the thing is that these Faragists, what they want is the law of the jungle, because they're eugenicists. They absolutely are eugenicists. They would think absolutely nothing about doing what Idi Amin did in the 1970s in Armenia. Effectively looking after people who, for a cosmic roll of the dice, haven't been born with the same advantages as the rest of us, is how society evolves. It's how we build a future where everyone is given a fair shot. Trump's America has shown us what happens when you let the fash pull the plug on equality, and Farage wants to import that nightmare to Britain. This isn't about training courses, it isn't just about training courses, it's about who lives, who thrives, and who gets left to rot. And if you're not angry about this, I'm sorry, but you're not paying attention, because this is the playbook of the modern fascist movement. You can see it in America, you can see it in Hungary, you saw it in the Bolsonaro in Brazil, and it'll happen time and time again unless we stand up and say no, which is something that we have absolutely have to do. Maggie Pie, thank you very much for the 50 Swedish krona. That is very kind of you. Farage has passed, according to L, led by donkeys, is a very vocal National Front supporter. I wasn't that far off when suggesting it being blood and honour. Yes, Maggie, you're right. His school reports mentioned the fact that he loved a bit of the fash. Peter says, ban spectacles and walking sticks, they are woke. Yeah. Mr. Sis, it's our favourite Scouser. Yay! I hope that's me. Have you gone to another channel? Is the true meaning of woke? Is it Amy Comer? The true meaning of woke comes from African American musician's record. He tells other African Americans to stay vigilant from the lynchings and stay woke. Yeah, I know. It's got nothing to do with making life a little bit easier for disabled people. I'm a proud equalitarian and social democrat, as that's given us the best things in society in Western democracies, says Mr. Scam. Yeah, Mr. Scam, I absolutely agree. Evie is a trans icon. With the right treatment, it can be nearly everything, says Gallifrey. Well, all of Pokemon are trans icons, like Machamp. You know Machamp? Yeah? With all the pecs and the big muscles, yeah. Machamp can be female. Don't tell J.K. Rowling. She'll shut a brick. Right on, Graham. At this point, fighting frog is self-defense as much as anything else. Yeah, absolutely it is, because we can't allow that scumbag to get into real power in this country, because he's going to destroy it. He's going to destroy everything we know and love. Right, I'm going to have to go in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to round up. I know this is a really short episode. You haven't had a half-hour episode of Morning Brew for many, many months, but like I say, I am on the move at the moment. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the 20 British pounds. That is really kind of you. Thank you. If I can just find my bloody animation here. Hang on. What separates us from other animals is human talent and problem solving. Unless we use that talent to the full in everyone, we sink back to other animals. DEI is a way of making sure we use that talent to the full. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Hitler Youth song, he loves them. Probably has a crafty to the Nuremberg rant, says Vendetta. No, absolutely do tell Voldemort, let someone with let her take on someone with money for once. Should we tell XY Rowling that Pokemon can be male or female no matter how they look? Like Gardevoir looks like a woman, got a dress and everything, can be male. Female Machamp is Muscle Mummy. Crows, squirrels, and elephants and other animals can solve problems, says Vendetta. Yeah, that's true, Vendetta. But that's why I think that there's a few things that separate us from the rest of the animals. But I think that the whole thing of looking after people in our community who are injured or are disabled or have an issue that needs to be resolved, coming together as a community and helping them is civilization. That is absolutely civilization. David Faulkner, thank you very much for the 38 Hong Kong dollars. That is really kind of you. All the way from Hong Kong. Thank you, sir. You are a legend. Welcome back, Graham. Missed you. I've missed you too, David. So I'm back now. I'm back. If we cause last year's Farage riots, will be held accountable. He's been emboldened by being treated like he's above the law. Yeah, Brett, you're absolutely right with that. And yeah, it is a huge issue. Right, it's past. I'm going to have to get going. As like I say, we are on the move at the moment. But tomorrow, normal service kind of should be resumed, and I will be doing Morning Brew. I'll be doing the agenda at 1 o'clock, and I'll be doing the Friday night social at 9:30. Hopefully with Mike back on the channel, because we love a bit of Mike, and I've been talking to Mike about him having his own show on here, which I'll produce, so don't have to worry about the tech side of things, because doing the tech stuff and doing the presenting stuff is a nightmare. So I'm glad you enjoyed Mike for a week and a day. I thought he did an absolutely fantastic job. And he's just a lovely bloke. He's just a really lovely bloke. So until next time, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, I'll say thank you so much for watching. And until next time, thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the chat. If you are so minded to give us a like, I would really appreciate that. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.